Hey young artists, it's me, Miss P. Recently, when we've been talking about art, I found that you all seem to really like abstract artists. Me too. So I thought for this Black History Month project, we would talk about a Nigerian American abstract painter who's really, really good. His name is Odili Donald Odita, and he was born in 1966. He's still alive. He worked mostly in Philadelphia. And his works sort of combine African textiles from his home country of Nigeria with their bright colors and blocks of color with abstract American painting. And man, he's just really good. And so he graduated with distinctions. He lived in Columbus, Ohio for a while, graduated, and then started doing artist residencies, and then eventually started working at artist residencies. He worked at Skowhegan, which is an artist residency that a lot of artists who are graduating from art school right around now attend this residency and go and make art and learn from Odili Donald Odita. Now, the thing that we're going to be making, I did it in marker and it did take me a while. So I think next week, the project I'm going to give you won't actually have as much drawing to it because I want to give you a lot of time to make this. Now this is based on one of his paintings, but I'm going to attach a lot of them because they're really, really beautiful. And I think you would all enjoy them. The cleanliness of his lines and the way that he breaks up these abstract shapes into a bunch of smaller shapes, it's like an optical illusion. It's, wow, very cool. Anyway, so like I said, I used markers and a ruler for this project. The things I would like from you is for you to use a ruler while making this. I want you to use at least 4 colors. And here, I want you to use a light color and a dark color in these little sections here to create the illusion of depth, the illusion of shadows, because you can see here I used a lighter gray and then a darker gray, and that makes it look like the lighter gray shadowed. And this is one of the effects that Odita creates in his paintings to just make them look really cool and sort of trick the eye into thinking that the canvas is 3-dimensional. So let's get started.
All right, my friends, let's start by taking our ruler and having it kind of diagonally across the paper. I didn't measure these different shapes. They don't have to be perfect squares. I just want them really to be rectangles. So I'm just creating a bunch of lines across my paper, and then I'm going to go in the other direction to make those squares. Pretty simple starting out. All right, now that I drew all of my squares, I'm creating these little weird like triangle shapes. They almost look like boomerangs. And I'm doing those at the tops of these squares, and then with the squares on top of those squares, I'm doing those on the bottom. So it creates like a zigzag all together. And I didn't use a ruler for this because originally I tried to use a ruler and then I just found that it wasn't making things any easier. So I stopped using the ruler. Now you can see I went down a square and I'm adding in some more of these weird boomerang shapes, sort of things that we have that create that zigzag line. And it should make sense to you. It's just like wherever you can put that zigzag shape without it touching the other zigzag. Up here I'm doing the parts that overlap with the edge of the paper. And now I'm doing the ones that kind of come up at the bottom. Now that I have that done, or almost done, I'm gonna get to coloring pretty soon. And for that portion of the video, I think I'm going to be just putting some music over it because it did take me a while to get this whole thing colored. So I start with this by taking my marker and doing a blue, like a light blue that's going on the top. And so I'm tracing every other shape there, and then as you know, the bottom ones will be a darker blue. I end up changing this to gray like way later on in the video, but you can use blue or gray or whatever two-tone colors you have. Like if you have two green markers and one is lighter and one is darker, use green because then you can create that effect. It really depends on what colors you have. Alright, cool. Now I'm done with those. I'm going to get that slightly darker blue and fill in the bottom little boomerang shapes. I'm trying to make my lines nice and neat, and I'm trying to keep my hand nice and steady because, as I mentioned before, Odili Donald Odita is so good at making his paintings look almost not like paintings because you can not see brush strokes or anything on those paintings. They're so neat and clean and blocked out. Alright, now that I'm done with those, I'm just going around with my eraser and I'm not erasing my shapes yet, obviously, because I gotta fill them in, but I wanted to get rid of any like pencil lines I might have created. I'm gonna start with my first color. I went with a rainbow palette here. I thought it looked really nice. You should do the same if you want that rainbow palette. Odita didn't do a rainbow palette with the piece that we're referencing, but he does a rainbow palette and a lot of other paintings. So, your choice, whatever palette you want to use. I have a lot of markers, so I'm using those. If you don't have a lot of markers, and if you want to use a different material, you can. You could use watercolor even. It would probably go faster with watercolor. I imagine with crayon or colored pencil, this would move pretty slowly, so just take that into consideration when choosing your materials. And as you can see here, it is going pretty slowly as I do this, mostly because I want it to be clean, nice and neat and clean. So I might just speed up the rest of the video and come in and comment on anything I need to comment on for the remainder of this video. Okay, I just want you guys to keep in mind that that last part of the video was sped up a lot. And if you want to make this look good, if you want to make it look neat, this is going to take time. So just be patient and it's going to look awesome. This is the part I mentioned before where I'm going over these colors a little bit darker with a darker color just because they blended too much in to the rest of my colors. So when you're doing these, I would try to keep any color that's in that little boomerang sort of separate from the colors you're using in your whole block pattern there. And that's why I did a little bit darker gray, but you know, if the colors work for you already, of course, you don't have to do this part. So we're getting towards the end of the video here, and I'm really happy with the way this is turning out. I think it looks really cool as a final effect, and I'm glad I took the time to make this look really nice and neat. So I hope you enjoy the project as well, and I will talk to you guys soon. Bye bye.